Hey guys, the following are a collection of clips of some items we look for upon completion of a project. These are things you should look for on a final walk around before leaving the job site and make sure are correct. This is how we like to see trees and shrubs staged when unloading on a job site. Hey guys, just wanted to make a quick video of some things we look for on a landscape project. Kind of during a final walkthrough, some finishing touch type items that we look for. Start with the trees here. Some things we see here, right? We got our mulch pulled back away, so it's not piled up the trunk. We don't have a mulch volcano, right? We've got kind of a saucer like this, so it's kind of bermed up low in the middle. That lets water stay, so it doesn't just wash away, and it soaks fully through the root ball, right? We see the root flare here is above and not buried too low, right? Staking, there's no branch low enough to wrap these around, so as you can see, they're hooked together so that they will stay the right height. Something I see here that we missed, right? First off, we're going to try to avoid scraping up a tree like this at all. In the future, this is something, while we're on site, we're going to want to wrap this with a tree wrap to cover this, right? If a tree's damaged like this, sometimes the architect will reject it, and the reasoning is this is a way a disease can enter this tree and potentially cause it to be unhealthy down the road. Another thing we see here, these are just mulch beds, no edging or anything like that. We got nice straight lines. These grasses here are nice straight lines. As we're planting and laying out, we always want to be looking down these lines to make sure everything is as straight as possible. This is a job where there's no other rock. This is a kind of a city requirement that it has to be rock around this transformer. Originally, this was kind of thin out towards these edges, so we brought in some rock just to touch that up. That's something we want to keep an eye out for. Once again, we try to have straight lines on these beds. Here's a tree. This is probably piled up a little too much on this tree, but not terrible. Sometimes as the sod goes down, it gets pushed up on there. Additionally, we see our sods cut out around this tree in a nice circle. Something else we see on the sodding, right? If you pull this up, our grade's left about an inch below the concrete. This is to allow for the inch width of sod in here. Something else to keep an eye out for, we got left this erosion sock here. This isn't always our responsibility. Like in this case, another contractor is going to come pick this up, but it's always good to ask if that's something we're going to be removing or not. Something else to keep an eye out for, usually along sidewalks and along the buildings, there's irrigation heads. We want to make sure that we cut around these heads so that they can pop up and get the sod watered. Something else to take a look out for on mulch beds. We want to make sure our mulch stays below any siding on the building, in this case stone. We don't want to pile it up against that. We also want to make sure it's smooth and flat along the building. If you get too many highs and lows, it makes it look really uneven. We want to make sure that looks flat. The other thing I see here that's pretty good, but could maybe be touched up a bit, our mulch is flat against the building. For the most part, that's good. We got a little bit of pile here, and we're below the siding. We always want to stay below the siding and the brick. We don't want to have it piled up like this against the siding and brick. So this could come back a little bit like I'm doing here, but you know, it's not that far off. It's not a huge deal. Some of these conifers are planted a little low. It's really important that we plant our conifers high. You can see compared to the grade, this guy's planted pretty low. The root flare is kind of at or below grade, and that's resulting in this sort of starting to die off. We need to we need to make sure our conifers, and when I say conifer, that's an evergreen tree, right? That's got needles, so spruces and pines specifically. Like this guy, you can see he's probably planted a little low, right? We want to make sure these are planted high. These trees like to dry out. They don't like to have wet feet. And you know, obviously we want them to stay alive. So some of these trees could have been planted a little higher. Also, on this job as a whole, I mean, our mulch depth looks pretty good. We're about 3 inches deep. That's always what we want to shoot for on mulch depth.